Hello friends, so in this video we will be seeing what is the meaning of OSI module and how it works. So basically let's see first what is meant by OSI module. So OSI module stands for Open System Interconnection. So it is a reference model that describes how information from a software application in one computer moves through a physical medium to the software application in another computer. So in networking, generally there will be two computers, right, which will be communicating with each other. So OSI model will be defining the standards or kind of a layers which will need to be followed by the data to reach from one computer to another computer. So OSI model consists of seven layers, and each layer will be performing a particular network function. Now, this model was developed by the International Organization for Standardization, that is ISO. It was developed in 1984, and it is currently considered as an architectural model for intercomputer communications. So, in the diagram, we can see there are various layers which basically are defined for the OSI model, and we will be seeing the layer details in a further slides. So, there are basically seven OSI layers, and each layer has a different functions. A list of seven layers is given below. First layer is known as the physical layer. Second layer is a data link layer. Third layer is a network layer. Then we have a transport layer. Then we have a session layer. After that, we have a presentation layer, and the final layer is the application layer. And we can also see it in the diagram. This is basically a diagrammatic representation which you will be seeing commonly across many discussions. So let us first see what is the meaning of physical layer in OSI model. So in OSI model, physical layer will be specifying the mechanical, electrical, or procedural network interface specifications. So basically, as the word itself suggests, right, physical will be something which actually deals with the physical level network, and that standardization is set in the physical layer. Now this layer will be establishing, maintaining, and deactivating the physical connections. Now functionality of this layer is to transmit the individual data bits from one device network to another device which is connected over a network. So basically, no matter what kind of data we are sending, at the end there has to be some kind of a physical medium which can be basically transferring the data from one of the computer to another computer, and that kind of a connection is achieved by the physical layer. Now, this can include the specifications such as voltages, pin layout, cabling, and other radio frequencies which will be used in the wireless communication. Now, at the physical layer, we might be finding physical resources such as network hubs, cables, repeaters, network adapters, or modems, etc. In the diagram, also, we can see that there are two hosts which are actually transferring data using the physical layer. So, data will be generated by the application layer, and in the actual physical sense, it will be going via physical layer. Now, the next layer is known as a data link layer. Now, let us see what is meant by the data link layer. So, basically, data link layer is responsible for the unique identification of each device that will be residing in the local network. This layer will be directly having connection and it will perform the node to node data transfer where data will be packaged into the frames. This layer will also be correcting some kind of errors which might be occurring at the physical layer. Now there are two sub layers which are part of the data link layer. One layer is known as logical link control layer. This layer basically provides the flow and error control over the physical medium, as well as it will be identifying the line protocols which needs to be followed. Another layer is known as the media access control layer. Now this layer is a link between logical control layer and the network physical layer. So as we can see in the diagram, we will be getting the data from network layer. It will be coming to the data link layer. Data link layer will be framing the data. It will sending it to the physical layer. It will transfer or it will travel on the physical layer. It will reach to the physical layer of the destination host, Now that physical layer will be sending that data to the data link layer of the another host, and from there it will be sent to the network layer. Now next layer is known as a network layer. Now let us see what is meant by the network layer. Now this layer is responsible for receiving frames uh, from the data link layer, and this layer basically manages the delivery of individual data packets from source to destination through appropriate addressing and routing. So as the name itself suggests, right, network layer will be actually doing the addressing and kind of a routing function in the OSI model. Now this layer will also take care of delivering the data packets from one of the source destination to the target destination, and it will be doing so by using the data in the frames which has the addresses mentioned into it. Now network layer also will be finding the destination using the logical addresses such as IP layer basically. So whenever we call IP address, right, this basically is used by the network layer to decide like what is the destination of that particular packet. Now this at this layer, routers will be playing a crucial role because routers are the components which basically transfer data between the networks using the IP addresses. So as we can see in the diagram, there is another layer which is another transport layer. This will be sending data to the network layer. Network layer will be sending data to the data link layer. That will travel via the physical medium. It will go to the data link layer of another device, and from there it will go to the transport layer. Now let us see what is the next layer. Next layer is another transport layer. Now transport layer will be managing the delivery and error checking of data packets. This layer will also regulate the size, sequencing, and it will ultimately control the transfer of data between systems and hosts. Now the main responsibility of the transport layer is to transfer data completely. So it will be making sure that data which is sent from the source should reach completely to the destination. Now, when the transport layer will be receiving any message from the upper layer, what it will do is it will be dividing message into multiple segments. Each of the segment will be assigned with a sequence number that will be uniquely identifying the each segment. Now, when the message has arrived at the destination, then transport layer will be again reassembling the message based on the sequence numbers. Now, one of the most common example of transport layer is the TCP, which is a transmission control protocol, and it is widely used in the network communication. Now, transport layer is also responsible for error control. Error control is performed end to end rather than across a single link. So, as we can see, the sender transport layer will be ensuring that message reaches at the destination without any error. So as we can see in the diagram, right, we can see that from session layer we get the data. It comes to the transport layer. Transport layer will be putting the sequencing of the data, and it will send to the